So look for him to keep the variety up there. Very hard to figure out as a player.
Yeah, we'll see that we are into champ select here. Gamtee on the blue side for game 1, EDG over on the red. Gamtee banned out Lissandra and Azir, so already Majors getting banned out here. And Rek'Sai still on this very strong 4.21 patch, I believe we're on. No more Rek'Sai anymore.
Yeah,
not for now.
Rek'Sai is just way too strong at this point. Just does everything as a jungle, transitions well to late game. Interesting, Pawn has played Azir twice in the last 3 games. The other one, of course, being a Lux game that kind of came out of nowhere. So smart to take that away.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, we've got Janna banned as well. Very strong support. We've seen Ella play it in just the series we had pass it by. And pretty much every player at this point in the world at the top level plays Janna well. Nara, very smart ban there. Gamtee clearly respecting Koro there.
Yeah, you have to respect Koro's Nara. He plays with it so well, and actually has had a couple of, I think, 1 or 2 games against it reasonably well as well. So yeah, Koro in the top lane, getting a little bit target banned here actually. If you throw the Lissandra into his area as well, that's 2 bans at the top lane for EDG. Yeah,
I mean, leaving the bottom lane relatively clear. Sivir is still up at this point as well. The EDG do have a ban to go here, so there's going to be a lot of very strong champions left open here. We're going to see what EDG want to ban last, because of course Gamtee are going to get first pick.
And wow, Kassadin being taken away. I like this. Zhao, who actually played it, I believe, in one of his games that wasn't... Actually, no, he played the LeBlanc, so another assassin being taken away from him, so I like that.
I mean, it's just good as well. Koro's played it. Let Me could likely play it in the top lane as well. You don't want to give it to Pawn either, by the way. He's really good at Kassadin, although EDG do ban it, so respecting the power there as well.
Yeah, definitely, and you mentioned Pawn. He is a very good clean-up Kassadin. Jumps in at the end of team fights and really swings them in his team's favor, so I do like his Kassadin, but obviously off the board for this one, and we'll have to see what Gamtee take first. I was going to say Jarvan, but it's actually Rumble that comes through.
Yeah, and Rumble's the other pick that we've seen get a lot of respect here in the LPL, so a strong first pick for Gamtee, but EDG going to get their choice of whatever they want here, and you mentioned Jarvan still up here as well, of course.
Yeah, Jarvan terrific at the moment. You throw in Lee Sin, they're probably the 2 best junglers once you take away that Kassadin. And in the top lane, Jarvan actually does surprisingly well against Rumble, has a very good 1-4, so can bully him around early.
Yeah, we've seen Aurelia from Koro a lot as well, so that could be a pick he's considering, but EDG going to take their time and make sure to get these 2 picks. And you mentioned shortening that jungle pool. That would be an interesting strat if EDG do want to do that here. Going to wait a little bit, though. Actually go for something quite a bit different here. Probably giving Mako a champion that he likes quite a bit, and it is going to be Jarvan and Annie.
Yeah, so it will be Annie actually being locked in. Mako has played that as well as Leona in the past, so don't mind the pick up there. Taking Jarvan away, I think Jarvan is a very solid jungle with the Rumble, so taking that one over the Lee Sin, I do like the pick up there, and so far piecing together a very good team fight in the mid-game composition.
Yeah, there was the potential to block the Lee Sin pick and really got the jungle pool. We've seen a lot of players default to Rengar. That hasn't worked out as well that much in the LPL. Well, I guess with the exception of Loveling, and GT picking very quickly here. Nunu Leona instantly picked up.
Yeah, straight away taken away, so Leona, an extremely aggressive laner against the Annie. One of the few supports that survives the upfront burst relatively easy with that W, and then can just put down the pain with the ultimate, especially at level 6. So trying to bully back against the Def Mako lane, and depending on the AD carry, they might be able to do it. Look for maybe a Corki or something like that to be picked up.
Yeah, this tends to happen when Janna gets banned as well, is that the Chinese sort of default to just engage supports. It's actually really interesting to see Thresh not even really being considered at this point. He's a very popular Chinese support, one of the most picked in the LPL as well, but Leona, very aggressive, still suits that style.
Yeah, certainly does, and we mentioned that maybe GT will look at the Corki pickup and very wisely taken away from Deft here. I like that move, being able to get a lot of upfront burst damage with his support player, and will really be able to augment that bottom lane, a very high bully lane in this Corki Annie.
Yeah, gotta love the Lulu Corki that they just picked up there as well. So GT can consider what they want. Tail hovering a champion. He's played a lot of their in Tristana, but we'll see if he wants to mix it up. It's quite dangerous to take that sort of champion against a Corki, but they are gonna, no, never mind, still picking. Wait a little bit more time here.
Yeah, so I would be surprised if it's a Tristana, not because it's Tail, but just because they've got a very good mid-game here, and Tristana doesn't really go with that, but looks like that's what they're deciding on.
Yeah, massive AP damage coming through as well. So a lot of carries here on the GT side. Tristana, Cassiopeia are their 4th and 5th picks.
Yeah, and wow, 2 very good scaling hyper carries coming through here. They have all the control out of their top and support, so why not throw in 2 very high damage threats? I mentioned that Tristana does take a while to get going, but you throw a Nunu Blood Boil on top of that, and it does speed you up quite a fair bit.
Yeah, you can at least kind of get powered through the mid-game power dip that you'll get through otherwise. And I actually like Absolute Zero and Petrifying Gaze as disengage tools as well, so there's a lot of zone control in this GT lineup.
Yeah, chasing through the GT lineup is extremely dangerous, and I like the fact that they have some gap closers on EDG's side, so they don't really have to walk over these things. Annie as well as Lulu are going to struggle though.
Yeah, and we'll have to see as the last pick, LeBlanc comes through for EDG, so it seems like Pawn is probably taking that one with him. We should move Annie down to support, and that will leave Coral in the top lane, I believe, with Lulu. Lots and lots of mages actually on this EDG side.
Potentially, they haven't actually swapped it over yet though, so it might even be the top Annie. We've seen it fairly often in the LPL. It's coming through a lot. Lupu has been picking that one up. So maybe changing up here. I also have to point out Xiao, whose summoner spell has gone for the Flash Ghost. So can be used defensively and offensively, but respecting Pawn's LeBlanc coming through. The
double mobility summoners we have seen a little bit on Cassiopeia. People really experimenting with their summoners on that particular champion. They did swap back, by the way, unfortunately, so it is going to be Annie in the support.
Yeah, so Annie support coming through just provides a lot more versatility, especially in the laning phase. So with that stun that can come out, little bit of a different mix-up throwing it into the top lane, but I think Lulu does do all right against the Rumble pickup.
Yeah, and we're sort of coming back to a very strong mid-game here from EDG. They're known as good team fighters, and they were back when they played with Nami last year in that split where they dominated the LPL. It seems like they've kept a lot of their identity as a team, but the players have sort of changed things around. In general, EDG just look a bit more aggressive and a bit more proactive as a team.
Yeah, they actually surprised me with how proactive they are, because you mentioned how good they were at team fighting and waiting for teams to make a mistake so they can really take over. It seems like they can still do that, but aren't really worried to take it to a team. So I expect against the Gamtee lineup, who, if they get ahead, will do very well, look for them to get early vision control and really force their way through that mid-game.
Yeah, and that's sort of Gamtee's thing as well. They like to actually, when they can, win through objectives.
Yeah, they definitely do. They're a very control-heavy style, Gamtee, and I like the fact that they've picked up Cassiopeia because she's only going to help with that neutral objective control.
Yeah, we'll have to see those going to get right into the game. And we're on to the rift here for Gamtee versus EDG, Game 1. Gamtee over on the blue side here for our first one. EDG over on the red. This would be quite the points for Gamtee to pick up, but EDG, they would love to win all 6 of their games this weekend.
Yeah, they certainly would. Gamtee really need to come out swinging in this game if they are going to have any chance against a mid-game powerhouse team like EDG. Picking up Lulu in the top lane as well as the LeBlanc just means that they can get so much work done, but if any lineup can do it, it's one that has a Rumble as well as a Cassiopeia.
Yeah, and we didn't mention it in the draft, but I actually really like the steal of the Nunu here by Gamtee. Nunu's seen a lot more play in the LPL, especially this weekend, and Clearlove has been playing that champion very well. So giving EDG a little bit more of an aggressive jungler. Clearlove's actually one of Jarvan, sorry, is one of Clearlove's favorite champions as well. He might still go to Sidestone, I expect it, given how much control they like to have over the enemy jungle. But denying that Nunu just means that EDG's regular plan of really getting aggressive and rotating on you isn't as easy to pull off.
Yeah, it certainly isn't. I do agree with the Sidestone pickup that will come out of Jarvan, but it just means that he's not as tanky as a Nunu, because Nunu will go the defensive jungle item in that Juggernaut, whereas the Warrior Enchant will probably come through from J4. So just not the synergy that Nunu's able to pick up in the early game items. Also, early Aegis will be crucial for both of these teams. So if Nunu's able to grab that one away, it's a very good item path for a Nunu. Will do a lot of damage mitigation against this top and mid lane of EDG.
Yeah, we'll have to see. First jungle camp's going to get started very soon. And both jungles actually starting on the same side of the map. So it looks like Danger will start with Let Me on the red buff, and Clear's going to go Gromp into blue.
Yeah, a very good mix-up here out of EDG, actually. They've sent Def to leash by himself and then allowed Mako to freeze the wave bottom, recognizing that the lane swap was coming through.
And we've seen a lot of swaps in the LPL. Teams really value the early freeze, especially to sort of get the most control over your wave. But that's a good adaptation, using the support just like, you know what, do your job.
Yeah, and even better, now they've sent Mako straight into the jungle to find out where the jungles are. Not looking to engage anything, but just scout out which camps have been taken, really give some good level 1 vision across the EDG. I really like how Mako's played this early game.
Yeah, he's actually not even leveled a skill yet, just kind of hanging out, wandering through, almost being a human ward. And this is what I love about Annie in China especially. She's so good with few resources that Chinese teams get very creative with her at level 1.
Yeah, if you just keep Annie level 2, she still has the stun that can come out. has a lot of good mobility, especially if you take some move speed on her. So I agree, very good pick in the Chinese meta at the moment. I think something that other regions will look to evolve how they're playing their Annie in the support position.
Yeah, we'll have to see a Pawn and Zhao who will face up in the mid lane, though. LeBlanc versus Cassiopeia. Fairly volatile mid lane matchup. Clearly a little low in the jungle, but him and Korra will be safe there.
Yeah, able to get a good recall back. They actually flew around that jungle, taking 5 camps relatively easily. So nice early jungle coming through here. Actually giving a lot more to Koro than they have on the other side of the map for Let Me on Rumble. And yeah, you mentioned the mid lane matchup. Two very, very different mages going head-to-head. LeBlanc looking to get in and out, maybe get affected by some ganks early. Cassiopeia just so good at pushing out waves and consistent control.
And Mako, we mentioned the camp might be coming onto Zhao. Mako's actually going to rotate in. The stun comes through Pawn. Going to look in. Woolash falls the flash. Goes straight in though with the Ignite. And that should be enough. A good distort back. The Ignite's rolling. Mako's going to pick up the kill for himself.
Yeah, really good play once again from Mako. Goes in for the gank and holds his auto attack until he knows that the Ignite isn't going to finish it off. Tried to give it over to the mid laner. Actually didn't overlap their Ignites very well. Both Pawn and Mako used theirs at the same time. So in the end, very good level 1 gank. Slight miscommunication, but well done.
Yeah, but we talk about resources, Annie. That's the sort of creativity that comes out early on. And a level 1 Annie gank at 3 minutes. That might be a new one for the Chinese scene.
Yeah, it certainly is. And being able to get Annie in there now has used summoner spells, but hey, if you get a first blood and an assist onto a LeBlanc, able to pick up all the extra experience as well, that's always going to mean good news.
Yeah, and Zhao is going to return to the mid lane. Maybe a little angry as Let Me down the bottom, getting 3-man dive. Clearlove actually misses his flag and drag, but Deft has more than enough damage to finish him off.
Yeah, a zoning flag and drag coming out of Clearlove there. Just, wanted to get nice and close to the turret, but straight away, EDG, we mentioned that they want to get ahead. They really want to push this mid game because no one wants to fight against the Cassiopeia that's ahead. So very busy from the jungler and support player.
And you know what? I'll give credit there to Clearlove, actually. I think he was setting up the flag to potentially catch the flash there. So that if Let Me did use it, he's just dead.
Yeah, I think exactly that. I jokingly called it zoning, but that's exactly what it is because you don't actually have to do the damage. You just need to make sure that in any situation that he's going to die.
Yeah, good coverage there from Clearlove. Again, a really good gank engineer. He knows exactly how to gank people, even if he does maybe overfarm his jungle from time to time. Zhao, though, will return, as I said, with the double drone ring, so really doesn't want that to happen again, and Pawn going to be happy here with a bit of a level lead.
Yeah, certainly will just have to be content for that. In the meantime, is actually farming up relatively nicely. You got to remember that he had a back in there and is still nearly equal to the AD carries at this point, so he's farming up well in the mid lane. Pawn, he's a master at lots of things, gets credit for a lot, but I think he's control over where the wave sits in the mid is what sets him apart from other mid laners of the world. Very rarely comes under danger of being ganked.
And your Pawn is just... That's a great thing. When your laning phase is that consistent, you get to make plays. And we've seen Pawn in this team especially loves to go around and team fight. So we'll see if he can get that done here. Deft down the bottom actually still dueling Let Me has a good level lead actually. And Mako's back here. Does stun up Sync Tube so they know the gank's happening through. Maybe Leona can really push out this in play. Will tag Mako. Danger going to running with the snowball. And there's no summoners left here for that Annie. She is going to go down there and Danger cleans up that kill.
Yeah, a little bit of a misplay coming out of Mako there. Recognized there was 2 people behind him, but then kind of stopped in the middle of the creep wave. But credit to Gamtee hitting back here in the early game, getting into that bottom lane where you have to say Let Me very struggling, 7 versus 31 CS, but able to get something back in his favor.
Yeah, he'll take the gold for sure at this stage of the game. After that really strong game from Clearlove, he's going to even things up a bit. Tail will clear out a pink ward towards the top lane as well. Looking good on the Trist, actually. Both AD carries getting the free from mid lane. We have problems. Clearlove again with the big ganks. Gets Xiaohu, and he is being camped.
Yeah, that was nearly a 1v1 kill, and then Clearlove just swooped in to secure it. Recognizing that not enough burst damage was coming through from LeBlanc, gets in there, able to tie it up. So whilst no kills going over to Pawn yet, he's building this nice, solid CS lead, has the 2 assists, and is looking very good on this LeBlanc.
And unfortunately, the Ghost can't really save you from the burst. It's good on longer distances and long lanes especially, but you can't really stop just getting from chained or flag and dragged and dying. This is the problem with Cassiopeia, and we don't have a flash.
Clearlove's still not done. He's back in the bottom lane.
He's going to go in to Let Me now as well. A good smite comes through. He's going to bide his time here. Let Me still has his flash from the first gang. It just doesn't hold it for a very long time, and Clearlove gets himself another kill. Good turret tanking by Mako as well.
Yeah, make sure Clearlove doesn't take too many, so if he wants to, he can go back into his jungle relatively healthy. Of course, that blue buff is up, so very smart play once again from the support player. And over the map. Clearlove just out jungling Danger on the other side.
And we're getting flashbacks to one of Clearlove's earliest games in this LPL split. He doesn't do this often where he really goes off and ganks lanes, but when he does, it looks spectacular, and it's almost always on Jarvan.
Yeah, and the impressive thing is he's done it, but maintained an experience equal. So he's half the CS of the Nunu, so he hasn't been farming as much, but sticking around in lanes enough to be able to pick up some valuable CS, some valuable experience on Jarvan, and yeah, looking very good. 3 out of 4 kill participation so far.
Yeah, again, Clearlove is trying to get the ganks on this time. I caught him an engineer, but he's gone a little too deep now as Koro will line up against Tail in the top side. Lulu, good CS actually here. Pretty comfortable in that 1v1 matchup.
Yeah, it certainly is able to, I guess, weather the early game that comes out of Tail, and Mako now coming up here to visit as well, so we see the Annie in the top lane, so yeah, doing relatively well.
It has the flash, could maybe go in. Mako just going to set up some vision. It looks like sight stun already done for that Annie with just the spell tip done, so all of that early gold that Mako's gotten from the pressure that he's able to be put out is actually converted into a really quick vision for EDG.
Yeah, and they've gone the second sight stone as well, so Clearlove, before he even finishes the Warrior Enchant, getting that sight stone down. We mentioned he would do this because they really need to be able to match this Nunu's pressure around the map.
Yeah, they do here. And looks like Synctream actually going to come up and maybe try and pressure Koro. But there's the ulti up for Lulu. Going to be pretty tricky to try and get a kill here. So Koro going to hang back, stay safe, and just continue free farming on this Lulu.
Yeah, and a lot of damage once again in this mid lane going down. Pawn just continuing to put out the hurt on Xiaohu. We mentioned how much pressure this guy was under. Gone for the early tier, but maybe regrets that now. Maybe needs a catalyst of the Protector.
Yeah, I mean, the double Doran's just not enough, it seems like, unfortunately, there for Xiaohu. And Pawn is now getting quite a strong CS lead there in the mid stages as well. So things not looking too good. Pawn actually almost gets the chance to finish the kill, but doesn't quite have enough left. Doesn't want to dive either.
Yeah, definitely doesn't want to dive because there are 3 members around his lane looking to get Xiaohu back ahead. Pawn trying to defend that pink ward, but won't have much luck with it. But good response from Gamtee. I mentioned this last week when Gamtee was playing. They do respond to ganks, maybe a little bit too late, but they get people into the lane that's being camped and try and respond in kind.
Yeah, this is one of the games where there's a lot of early movement at level 1, so you do have to be vigilant with the rotations and the early map control. The good news, I guess, though, for Gamtee is Tail's just sitting here on this Trona, and he's absolutely gotten free farm.
Yeah, he certainly has. And more important, that solo experience that we talk about with Triss, getting her ahead in the early game. It does look like it will mean an early dragon for EDG, but Tristana, that late game insurance policy definitely scaling up.
Yeah, the good pressure here from EDG will get them the first buff. Danger actually be in trouble, gets stunned by Mako's Annie, forcing the flash out there for Nunu. Deft will not chase aggressively, but EDG, they're a very strong team when it comes to dragon control, and they'll take the very easy dragon.
Yeah, so they take the first dragon of the game, 10 minutes in. That's fantastic timing for it. Puts them on that 5 dragon mark for around the 35 minute. And once again, Pawn going so deep in the mid lane.
Yeah, just getting aggressive. That was an amazing flash by Pawn to dodge the damage. Wasn't going to get stunned, but didn't really want to go into that 1v1.
Yeah, certainly didn't. Actually used all of his abilities to try and, I guess, get aggressive and get through. Wow. Just runs out of range.
It was a good tag by Koro, but he couldn't quite flash in for the ulti and secure the kill.
Yeah, it was just the very, very end of that Glitter Lance coming through, but 28 CS advantage in the mid lane, a very good advantage compared to the top laners here. Nearly 50 actually coming through for Koro, and this guy is so impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to fault Koro as a player. He has very strong, consistent lanes, and even when he falls behind, his team fighting in this team has looked stellar. We mentioned his Gnar. There's a reason that every time someone gives it over, I start shaking my head on camera because he's just far too good at using that Mega Gnar ultimate.
Yeah, he certainly is. Just understands exactly when he needs to transform in those team fights. I guess that's what impresses me about very good Gnar players. Lots of people can nail the ult, but they don't have it up every team fight. It looks like for Koro, he can just transform at will. Yeah,
that's not a rage ability here. As Mako coming through to the bottom. Synctream taking a lot of harass there by Deft. He's level 8 on this Corki with the components of his Phage, plus his Sheen done already. I mean, Tail is fine. He's actually swapped back down with the BF Sword Avarice Blade now, but the bottom lane is going to be EDG still here, even though Mako's only level 5.
Yeah, it certainly will be because Corki scales just as well with levels as does Tristana, both being caster ADs at the start of the game. So going to be able to deal with that very well. I like the aggressive Sheen buy as well before the Phage is even completed, just making sure that has the ability to trade in short bursts because you don't want to opt into an extended fight with a Tristana.
And I take it back slightly as well for Tail. He actually is a very smart swap. He's level 9. I only just realized that. He's maxed out the explosive shot, so going to be able to counter push much easier here and really pressure against the Corki's turret.
Yeah, and I think they recognized that they needed to get Let Me back into the game, but Clearlove responds.
Yeah, Clearlove is just continuing to pick on this Rumble. The Equalizer goes down to try and help him out, but Clearlove's going to get yet another kill on this Jarvan. Pawn also trying to defend that pink ward once again from Syncdream, and he'll do it successfully.
Yeah, those pink wards are so hard to pick up as once again another...
Pawn's really good at this game.
Pawn
I don't know what to tell you.
fantastic at this game.
Another good dodge of the ulti there by Pawn. This time basically just outthought Xiaoyu in the mid.
Yeah, able to go back to that W distort at the very last moment, and there's just so much pressure over the whole map from EDG at this point. They're 4,000 gold and a dragon up. That top lane turret also took a lot of damage, and when you've got a laner that's nearly 100 CS up at 13 minutes, something's gone seriously wrong.
Yeah, and it's all Clearlove here on this job and getting very aggressive. Still behind in CS to the Nunu, but has applied so much pressure to this lane. And now Pawn and Clearlove are going to team up for a diver in the top lane. Let Me, with no ulti, with a flash at level 7, is not going to have a fun time. Here comes Clearlove in there. Just gets the ulti down as well. Let Me goes in and Pawn gets an easy kill for himself.
Yeah, and that's bad news because now the gold's going across to someone else and in the bottom lane at the same time.
Yeah, Syncdream's sorry in trouble as Mako's chased in. The first kill already came through. The second stun goes in. And the double actually for Annie. I think Tibbers stole that one.
Yeah, Tibbers getting in the way there. It looks like they're trying to respond with a Nunu gank down the river, but nothing's going to happen there. All over the map, EDG is dominating.
And the fact that EDG are doing this without the Nunu is very impressive to me. If you watch the games yesterday that Clearlove played on this champion, you'll see that Danger's just not having nearly the same impact that Clearlove was able to.
Yeah, and the problem is he's needing to be... Wow.
Pawn is going in. That was a really smart bait, going back and forth for the 1v1. Does get it there. Danger going to come in for the snowball, but Pawn might just be okay. Just dodges the absolute zero, goes back in, looking for the equal chains, and Spawn, you can't see him, but his mouth is wide open after that play. Pawn going to dive back in now as well, just dodging all of the skill shots.
Pawn is ridiculous. He is coming up so big in this game. He's got a 33 CS advantage against a Cassiopeia and is now 2-0-2. Just the mechanical outplay of that was beautiful to watch.
I mean, it's not even just mechanics there. Sure, you can do some of these things reactively, but a lot of this is just Pawn outthinking the Gamtee players, and that's even more impressive to me.
Yeah, it certainly is. He just doesn't only know his champion, knows the champion he's playing against, which allows him on cooldown to be able to dodge things like that. And once again, in the top lane, I don't even know if Let Me can fight Mako, let alone the flanking Lulu that's coming through from Koro.
Yeah, he's actually the same level as the support. Annie Rumble's in a whole host of trouble in this game. Koro running in. Clearlove is a bit low, but he's off to the side as well. This comes in for the smite. Very smart tag. Doesn't want to overcommit with the Rumble ulti. Don't get himself killed. Picks up the kill for himself, though, using the banner.
Yeah, it just gets the banner in there as well. 4-0-2 now for Clearlove. He is probably one of the wealthiest mans on the map. Keeping up actually with his top laner in gold, and he's having a stellar performance.
He really is. The tail and Syncdream are going to pressure down towards the bottom. Def could be in trouble. Danger coming in for the turret dive. Does get smited. Snowball comes out as well, but Def will Valkyrie to safety. Syncdream can't quite nail him with the ulti.
Actually, maybe even turns his Pawn's on his way.
Uh-oh, Pawn. That's not what you want to hear if you're a Gamtee fan. As Pawn with the LeBlanc now going to power down in towards the mid. Tail is very low. He has to be so careful. Distorts in and go with the Mimic. Dodges back out of the ulti there for Syncdream, and he's going to go down. Now Danger running in. Pawn, I think, Struked him. That's a great flash from LeBlanc there as well. And now Shower could be in trouble. Clearlove diving in. Tail over the top. Wants to kill onto Def. Def with the double. Tail takes him out, but Mako's going to get the return kill there as well. And 3-1 EDG.
Yeah, you look at how much Gamtee put into setting that up, and to go 3-1 EDG's favor, they're going to pick up the bottom lane turret. They're going to pick up the dragon. 10,000 gold at 16 minutes in the game. These guys have came to play. They want that first spot.
They really do. They'd love the win here, and of course the second as well for the full 6 points. Pawn and Clearlove going to team up with Mako for their second consecutive dragon in this game as well. And EDG, we know about it. They love to play aggressively, really control the map for themselves, starve you out of dragons, and this is in emphatic fashion.
Yeah, it certainly is. They have gone from strength to strength. Really played this early game faultlessly, from Mako's being able to freeze out the bottom lane, get the roam on early on, to Clearlove's fantastic jungle control. They can really do no wrong at this point.
Yeah, and I like the talisman pickup from Mako as well, just for a bit more engaged. EDG know that the one thing they do need to do is close this game up fairly quickly. Def going for the Bilgewater Cutlass, going to move into the Bork after that Trinity Force. And something we're starting to see a little bit more, Spawn, that I'd love your thoughts on. We've got the need to see Loud Rod for Pawn, but we've seen the Athenes be much more popular now.
Yeah, we certainly have, and I think it has to do with how often Pawn uses his abilities. I think that if you're under 500 mana, Athenes is more gold efficient if you are looking for the mana regen component. So I think that's the reasoning behind the pickup there. Also gives you a little bit of that MR against a very aggressive laner like Cassiopeia.
Yeah, I mean, with the Rumble there for a lot of AP damage, maybe just trying to hedge his bets a little against the damage, but at this point, Pawn is very far ahead, isn't really worried. 50 CS and counting now against that mid laner. Deft even pressuring at level 11 with his Corki now, trying to steal away the Croaks. Doesn't quite get it, but EDG uncontent just to take the turret yet. They'll do it now as Pawn. He's back over, gets a kill off screen. There's a reason we can't catch this one. It's just too quick.
It certainly is. That wasn't even his R coming out in that combo. It was just his normal abilities. And wow, this guy, he's putting on a clinic. LeBlanc players out there, this must be fun to watch.
It must be indeed. Pawn, always a joy to watch, and putting on a clinic, as you said, here with the LeBlanc. 3-0-4 now with just a mountain of CS, and Clear Love again. The engineering is back. He's going to go in for the bottom lane gank now, possibly a 4v3 tower dive.
Yeah, I think what they were doing was actually waiting for the rotation to come back up through mid lane. Pawn was pushing that out, and they were looking for someone to face check. The response now is that they don't go through, and EDG pick up a free turret.
Great coverage there again for the rotation there for EDG. You got to mention it, zone them out of the bottom side. They don't want to walk through. Can't go through their own jungle. Tail actually getting a little low there as Def going in. Rumble does get the top turret, but Mako's down the bottom, flashing on top of them. That's going to be the first kill there onto Triss. Now Danger's in a whole host of trouble as Clear Love goes massive with the wild growth put on him. That's one kill, but that's all EDG need.
Yeah, and they're trying to get Let Me back in this game with some solo time in the top lane, but what does that mean in response? EDG are just forcing all over the map. That's 2 turrets for 1. So much extra gold going on to them, and 11,000 now.
Yeah, 5-1 now in turrets. Koro does have his TP up as well if he wants to use it, but might be able to just run back to the top turret instead. Morellonomicon, Void Staff, and the Sork Boots finished up for Koro now as well. Cliv's very tanky on his job and got the Merc Treads of Sight Stone and a Giant Spell to spare with his Warrior Enchant done as well. And the Blade of the Ruin King just got finished up, plus a Rabadon for Pawn. EDG, an embarrassment of riches this game.
Yeah, they certainly are in a good spot. The one mistake I might touch on is the fact that flat AP is much better on Lulu than the Void Staff at this point in the game, just because she does have those defensive abilities that aren't augmented through the penetration. So if I was being extremely picky, that might be what I say about this matchup. But overall, EDG are just so wealthy at the moment. It doesn't really matter what they buy.
No, and they're just playing the map so well, as we've seen them do time and time again. Pawn diving in onto Danger, gonna get the chains down as Xiaohu. Can't even find a good spot to ulti. Just misses a Mako, actually. And this Cassiopeia has not worked out for the star GT mid laner.
Yeah, it certainly hasn't, and it's just the patient play that comes through EDG. A normal team would rush through that choke after they pick up the kill and be like, we can go. EDG get 1 kill, back away, take all the objectives, look for a Baron now, and really, nothing Xiaohu can do here. He's trying to play reactionary, and it's just not working
and we've
out.
seen a lot of 20, 22-minute Barons from EDG, but that's when they have Nunu. They're so far ahead and so confident in this game. They're going to take it basically on the dot here. Danger very far back in the base for the steal, and EDG get the very rare free Baron.
Yeah, they certainly do, and they also have the Baron recall if they want. No, they want to fight.
Yes, Extreme in trouble. Does the played in. Equalizer does come down. It's in a good spot, but the Wild Growth will keep him safe. Pawn jumped on the tail and almost deletes him off the map. Popped over the top there as well to keep himself safe over on the other side. Now Xiaohu getting chased down. That's 3 kills for 0 with some blinking low members here of EDG. And Xiaohu and Danger, despite the health bars, don't want to go back in.
Yeah, they certainly don't, just because of the threat of Pawn around the flank on this LeBlanc. Would have been able to blow a member up. His ultimate's already back off cooldown. He's not done.
He's going in. Xiao could be in trouble. There's a Mimic Distortion coming in. Pokes him back and forth just for a bit more damage, and will back away. Didn't get the kill that he wanted.
Yeah, definitely was fishing for something there. Maybe even over-forcing a little bit, but able to clean out some more CS for himself. I wonder how much gold he has. Only another 1,000, so might go back for a little bit of a blasting one.
We'll have to see what he picks up at Pawn. Just so far ahead. It's only 21 minutes into the game. He's already finished his 2 meta items. We're expecting maybe 3-4 more minutes time, and then we're looking at these items. Pawn is minutes ahead already of his standard timings, and he's been playing fantastically. And I set a free Baron there for EDG4. That might be downplaying just how well they've played in this early game.
Oh, it definitely is. As I said, this is a clinical game of League of Legends. They have really done nothing wrong. They are so far ahead at this point, and even more penetration coming through for Koro. He has stayed 100 CS ahead of his laner whilst helping his team. He's participated in 7 kills and really doing a good job from that top lane.
Yeah, got a Haunting Guys now. Zorn is loose, so really wants to maximize the early damage of the base damage of his spells here. Pawn actually just hiding off towards the mid lane, pushing the Baron creeps in, which is smart, but just poking Danger with his ulti now as well.
Yeah, and there's just nothing they can do at this point. Deft opting for a Hex Drinker, recognizing double AP. He doesn't need to be the hyper carry. Can go for a little bit of a defensive buy while still being gold efficient without the shield. And Pawn just does so much damage.
That was insane poke onto the Leona, who's normally quite tanky here, and EDG just going to force their way onto this turret. Pawn actually going in danger. Could be in trouble there. The chains do land there, and the Ignite will actually get the kill. Distorts out as well. Beautiful play.
Yeah, this is so well played from Pawn. He is a man at the moment, and he's not done.
He's going to go in. His Sync Dream could be in trouble, though. Good ulti that actually lands on the Cleaver, but Def will clean out the first kill. Now Let Me actually could be in trouble, but does take her Annie. Now Xiaoyu, he's going to get dunked on him. Tails flash his way back and use the heal to try and get out, but Def's going to pick up 3 kills, and that should be the game for Edward Gaming.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it will, and 23 minutes in, they're 20,000 gold in the lead, so I don't think that there is any team that can come back. The surrender comes through, and that was an absolute smashing.
That was EDG looking so strong there in that game. We expect them to be on form this weekend. They want the points to get themselves up in the standing. GT were going to struggle here, but that was one hell of a game from Edward Gaming.
Yeah, it certainly was. Their support died twice and their AD once, and no one else died. A lot of perfect scores coming across the board, and there's really not much else to say about it. They just played it so well.
I mean, for me, if we're going to highlight anyone, it's got to be Pawn here. He's just such an elegant player. That was a very skill-intensive mid-lane matchup, and he made that look easy against Cassiopeia.
Yeah, he played absolute rings around a terrific mid laner in Xiaohu. So if you can do that in a pretty tough, volatile matchup, as we said at the start of the game, yeah, massive props to him. Also got a hit on Clearlove. That guy was absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, and it's rare that Clearlove has a game like that, but when it does, it looks amazing. And so do EDG, but we'll be back to see if they can do it again here up against the Gamtee, who look to be struggling a bit just in that last game.